Hello everybody, fluxjelly here, bringing you guys another Starcraft 2 commentary. So this is going to be a PvZ on metalopolis. We're going to have cross spawns here. It's going to be NEXSickness, the red Protoss, against Squiggle Squiggle, upside down wise, Squiggle, the blue Zerg. Cross map on metalopolis is a pretty good matchup for Zerg. They do have a lot of room to expand and stuff, so this should be a pretty good game. NEXSickness is actually a really good Protoss player. He's been in the GSL, he's been in a lot of, big tournaments, so he's pretty well known. He's really creative and dynamic, so this should be a pretty interesting game. This other player down here, I don't know who this is. This could be Nesty for all I know. I mean, that name's pretty unreadable, we'll say. So yeah, like I said, I don't know. If anybody knows who this is, you could leave a comment there just to tell everybody. So we got some Korean smack talk going down pretty early with a question mark, so it could be some crazy smack talk from the Koreans. I don't know. We do have NEXSickness now scouting the right way, actually. That was kind of weird. I guess he just realized that you can't actually spawn, close spawn here, and his probe didn't make a quick turn there, so he's going to be scouting the Zerg first, which is pretty funny. I mean, usually you scout this right here first, but he's actually being really smart about that because he would see the Overlord. He probably sent the drone or a probe over here, and he didn't see the Overlord, so he knew it was going to be cross map. And so we got some more Korean smack talk coming here from one of the spectators. If you guys can translate, hey, by all means, just let me know. Don't troll me, though, because I'll know if you're trolling me. So metalopolis, you don't usually see Forge FEs on this map, and you can kind of tell that Sickness wasn't going to do that because of that high ground pylon there. So he's going to be throwing down his gateway first, and our Korean Zerg does see this, so he knows exactly what's up. This probe is going to be really annoying and deny this hatchery, and this is actually really smart. You do have to do this as Protoss. On a map like metalopolis that you clearly don't Forge FE on very often because, I mean, it's really exploitable because the natural's so big. Zerg will tend to actually 15 hatch against you because they're not going to be afraid of that Forge. So you do have to be really annoying with that probe and just see if you can get the Zerg to throw that pool down first anyway. And we do see the pool is going down first now for the Zerg player. So mission accomplished by this probe. Really big that you do want to get them to put that pool down first. So they're just going to get really far ahead if they hatch first. And we actually have a gas steal here from the Zerg, so he doesn't want to have any 3-gate expand play going. You know it's going to be 3-gate expand or some sort of variant of it because of that gateway going down first. So he does want to deny that as much as he can. We'll see if he'll actually cancel it. I don't know if he's going to cancel or just let it finish. Looks like he's actually going to let it finish. And yeah, he does let that finish, so I don't know if that was a mistake or not, but I don't agree with letting that finish. The pylon is actually down from NEXSickness now, blocking off this hatchery. It could be really annoying. I mean, you gotta kill it with your Zerglings. It forces you to get Lings out if you didn't want to get Lings out, and just all that crazy stuff. So the drone is actually going to be following that probe, which is smart. You do want to make sure he doesn't put any proxy pylons down by your third. So you do want to make sure of that, and you do have the probe coming here now, hitting this pylon, trying to get that nexus down, or trying to get the hatchery down, actually. And you can see, I mean, that the pylon delays the hatchery a lot. I mean, that's 100 minerals in the bank, and the probe's actually coming back. I don't know why the probe's coming back. He's probably going to die. Oh, he actually threw down the cyber core, so yeah, that cyber core is actually going to delay the hatchery even longer, which is so painful. We have metabolic boost started right now, and he actually pulled off gas, so there's not going to be any kind of crazy tech play. And I mean, look how fast that cybernetic core builds. It's 4 Lings hitting it, and it's still, I mean, it's still not even dying that fast. So it is going to delay that hatchery really long. You can see the minerals are starting to stockpile here now for the Zerg player, and I mean that every little bit counts. I mean that early, this amount of minerals is not what you want to see. That hatchery is going to be really delayed right now. On the other hand, the gas was delayed as well, so both players getting delayed a little bit. The warp gate is on the way. We're not seeing any more gateways yet out of the Protoss player, which is kind of strange. I mean, he has a lot of minerals. I don't know why he's not throwing down some gateways. He is actually going to push out with 3 zealots here. So, and yeah, there go the other 2 gateways. So the 3 zealots are just going to go out, and this is actually another really smart play. This is going to force a lot of Lings out of the Zerg player. 3 zealots. I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it takes a lot of Lings to kill those zealots. If they just stay down here and camp this hatchery, and I mean, if you don't go up into the mains, obviously the queen's there and there's drones, but if you stay down here, I mean, that's really hard to deal with. I mean, the 3 zealots are just going to be able to camp that forever. They can get in the mineral line, and it'll take a crazy amount of Lings to kill it, essentially. And so we do have those zealots on the way right now. That was spotted by the Zerg player. The two Lings here are going to try to kill that probe. Probe probably going to try to put down a proxy pylon. Oh, he's actually going to be walling off that ramp, so that is pretty big there from NEXSickness. So he's going to be walling off this ramp and denying this as long as he can. He did actually leave a hole there with that zealot, but the zealot can plug that hole pretty quick. And yeah, so this is going to be really annoying to deal with as the Zerg player. There is no forge, so there's not going to be any photon cannons going down. It's just going to funnel all those Lings so the zealots can get the maximum amount of kills that they'd ever get. And yeah, you can see that right now. I mean, they're just going to stand there in that hole. And he's actually going to be walling off again, so a lot of pylons going down from NEXSickness. And I don't know how cost efficient this is, but I mean, this is a full wall off right here. He's not going to be able to get out of here. And the warp gate is actually done, and we do have actually sentries coming right now, so this is actually going to be a really aggressive play here from NEXSickness. And a big force field going in there, blocking in the lings. And I mean, these sentries have free reign over these lings right now. They have to get out of here. They aren't going to kill these pylons fast enough. And there are force fields, so he does have to be careful here. This pylon is getting really, really close. We are going to see a force field go down that pylon. One ling does sneak out, but that's not going to do much damage. And another ling actually sneaks out. So the lings are actually starting to get out now, so it doesn't look like there's going to be that much damage done here from NEXSickness. He's actually warping in more sentries, though. And there are still force fields available. There's one more here, so a lot of lings actually gone down. And this is actually some really creative early pressure from NEXSickness. Actually canceling that pylon as well, as he didn't need it. But I mean, just look at all the lings he's forced right now, and there's no drones. This hatchery is actually getting hurt fairly bad. I feel like there's not much here the Zerg player can do. I mean, the ramp's force fielded off. He can't get down here. He should be able to run down right now if he does it really quick. But I mean, there's more units being warped in right now. There's sentries everywhere. There's stalkers and zealots being warped into the natural right now. This hatchery's getting really, really low, and these lings are just getting bottlenecked here. So this is actually really creative by NEXSickness. You don't see this very often, and this came down again to this hatchery getting delayed. If this hatchery wasn't delayed so much, that creep would have been down already, so these pylons wouldn't have been able to get put there. But this hatchery actually looks like it's going to go down. There's a big force field there on that ramp again, and there's more units being warped in. So yeah, the hatchery actually goes down, so that is actually huge. This puts the Protoss player way ahead at this point. That hatchery was a big investment. 300 minerals down the drain, essentially. And these two queens are stuck out in no man's land. They're not going to be able to run away. They're going to go down as well. The stalkers are just going to be too much for that. And the lings are actually running out right now, but I still think this is just too many units. He might actually just go for a counterattack here. Actually, no, he's not going to go for counterattack, so I don't really agree with this play right here. I mean, these lings have no chance of dealing with this army. What he should be doing here is he is actually throwing down some spine crawlers, which is smart. And he's pulling the drones now, so the drones are going to get a big surrender on all the sentries, and there's not much energy left for any force fields. So the sentries are actually going to go down, and the zealots are stuck in the back. You actually want the zealots to be up at the top, and a great job there of holding position on those drones, just so the queens can be protected. The units actually won't attack the drones if the drones aren't attacking the units. So if you do that, it'll make your opponent's units just run around like idiots, and they're not going to attack anything. But still, sentries being warped in here at the main, or at the natural, I should say, and these pawns are still getting taken down by these spine crawlers. So overall, I mean, I don't think those lings should have stayed here and engaged. I think they should have counterattacked, because I mean, look what he has. He has one sentry here at the main, and that's it. So yeah, he couldn't have done much to defend those lings, and these spine crawlers are starting to pick down these pylons, so if he keeps taking away these pylons, he might be able to even out the game a little bit. I mean, that is a lot of minerals invested right there in those pylons. We do have more units being warped in, though, so NEXSickness is staying on top of his warp ins, and he is keeping a lot of units here at the natural. And as you can see, all the Protoss player has, or the Zerg player, I should say, has to deal with this is lings, and that's not going to be very efficient. There are just too many sentries with force fields, and I mean, there's just not much you can do at this point. We actually have a warp prism on the way over now. I don't know if he's actually going to be warping in units because he still has pylons, so he might be using this just for like a spotter, which is actually really smart. It's a cheap spotter. Instead of spending the gas on the observer, which he obviously doesn't have at this point, he can just get the warp prism, and we are seeing those stalkers are going to be hitting those from the high ground now, and the force field does go down to stop the lings from coming out, so these spine crawlers do have to move or they are going to get damaged, and yeah, they are going to move to the other side, but now they can't pick off these pylons, so there can be more units warped in here. The warp prism is actually getting fairly low. I know it got a health upgrade, but it does still die eventually to queens, so he does have to be careful with that. Sickness does have to control this pretty well. Accidentally hitting, and why is he doing that? And the warp prism actually goes down. I don't know why he was trying to do that with the warp prism. There was no reason to do that. He still has pylons here. And now he can't spot the high ground anymore, which is kind of a big deal. He does want to do that. If he can pick off these spine crawlers, he can pretty much just run into the main and kill everything. But we do have a lot of lings out from the Zerg player now. He's got about 47 lings, so that will be able to deal with this force, I think. It doesn't seem like there's enough here to kill that many lings. There had to be some really, really good force fields for that to happen. The lings to think they can run out now, and there is a force field going down. Just trying to bait some force fields at this point. I mean, there's 5 sentries, so he can pretty much force field for the entire game if he wanted to. There's just going to be so much energy. But he does have to do something to break out here, because the Protoss player does have his expansion going up right now, so he is going to be behind if he doesn't expand really, really soon. And you can see his drone count is incredibly low because of all the drones he had to use in defense. So he does have to make something happen here. I mean, I still think he should have did the run by, and I mean, it's still viable if he can get the lings out. He could still do that run by. We do have the spine crawlers hitting the pylons right now, and there is an observer up there now, and a big force field's going down, so those spine crawlers can't run away. So the stalkers actually pick off the spine crawlers, and this is huge. At this point, the Protoss player can pretty much just run into the main if he wants to, and that observer was really smart. There's no way the Zerg player is going to be able to kill that. He's not going to have a layer up at this point, or spore crawlers for that matter. So he can pick off all this creep now. have free reign over this again. Another War Prism coming down just in case those pylons get picked off. A couple of really good force fields going down, blocking in all the lings, but they actually do find a hole right there, so they are going to get out. He should be doing a counterattack right now, and it looks like that's exactly what he's going to be doing, but he's actually pulling his lings back, so I don't really agree with that. He should just go for the counterattack and, I mean, throw a lot of spines down up here just to deal with this army. But, I mean, I don't know. It's looking pretty bleak for the Zerg at this point. He doesn't have much of an army to deal with that. I mean, that's a lot of units. I mean, that's going to take a crazy amount of lings to kill, so a couple spines going down. Surprised we haven't seen roaches. I feel like roaches would have been a good way to deal with this. Even though there was a lot of force fields, in a straight battle, roaches are going to do a lot better than lings in this situation. So we do have the run by up here right now, but a couple of force fields are going down, so these lings are getting completely denied. Great pylon placement there from Sickness. Really, really smart. He does want to block that off. He does have a full wall here with pylons, so he wasn't anticipating the run by, which is really smart. So he did actually do a really good job of defending his natural there. He does have a lot of sentries of force fields and some zealots, so not much damage is actually going to be done here either, so this is actually really solid play. I don't see anything the Zerg can really do to deal with this right now. I mean, he doesn't have the expansion up, and Protoss is on 2 base at this point. He's going to have double probes coming out of these Nexus. He's got his Robo up. He's getting Immortals for some reason. I don't know why he's getting Immortals, because they're never good against lings, but, I mean, he can eventually get Colossi. He should be going putting up his 4th gas very soon. And he's pretty much going to be in full econ. And we do have the last engager from the Zerg. He is picking off a lot of sentries, however, so if all these sentries go down, these stalkers are going to be really, really vulnerable to the lings. We do have some more zealots coming in, so it is a little bit of a better situation for the Protoss now if he can get those zealots in front, which he actually does, so these lings aren't going to do very much. They do pick off that last sentry, and these stalkers are actually fairly open, so he might be able to pick off a lot of these stalkers too, but you can see the zealots over here just shredding all the lings. And he actually picked up the stalkers into the War Prism, so really nice micro there from NEXSickness. Not losing any stalkers. Wow, that was actually really impressive. But at this point, I mean, there are too many lings to deal with this, so he is going to have to pull out of here very soon. These pylons are going to go down. But he does still have those 4 stalkers alive. That was really impressive that he managed to save those. He will be able to warp in more zealots right now, too. And he picks up that other stalkers again. Wow, so really impressive micro there, keeping those stalkers alive as long as he can. Long enough to deal with these Zerglings, because there's still some zealots left in the natural, and there's not very many lings left, and this hatchery is under siege again, and I don't know if there's anything left the Zerg can do at this point. He almost has no minerals in his main. If this expansion goes down, it's going to be GG, and I mean, it is already GG at this point. I mean, there's the, I guess that's a Korean GG, and it's the game, so really creative play out of NEXSickness there. You could call that cheesy if you want, but I mean, that took a lot of skill to pull off. I mean, bringing in those sentries with those good, really, really good force fields, picking off those 2 spine crawlers right there. I mean, that was really, really solid play. And it all came back again to denying that hatchery. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that game, and stay tuned for more.